So I'm going back and looking at AFRM and the breakout that it had, and just doing like a study on it essentially. So if you look at the daily chart, you had this nice falling wedge, which went back and forth, and got tighter and tighter. And what you want to see is look at the Doji, pretty much a Doji, just tight action, right? But if you think about it, if you go back to this day, you had no real catalyst, right? Yeah, earnings declining. Let's just look at it here. Right, so there's really why would you be buying this here? How could you know that it was going to go up? It very well could have gone down, and it is starting to have a slight uptick, and you got this turning green. But there's nothing here that you would know until this day here, where it's up. How much in a day? Gaps up 20% almost, 19.5% gain on. Let's look at that. Let's get this out of the way. Volume. $529 million volume. The day before, it traded 166 million. So you're up here. Here we could go back and look at that too. So you're looking at, look, it's holding above, mostly above this candle here, right? So it comes down into it a little bit, but it holds. Does not take out this huge gap up where you're up 28%, almost 29% on that day. Actually, we could look at an anchored VWAP as well. So it's below that anchored VWAP, and then it gaps up and holds that as support, right? But now the key ingredient here is the news. So on this day, Amazon announced that they're partnering with AFRM for their buy now, pay later option. So from there, that was a major catalyst to turn this thing around. And then it runs up pretty quickly. You get a 1-2 day move, then a continuation setup, right? And let's look at this high here. So yeah, it's a breaks and fails. So essentially, what we've got going on here is a nice cup where you have a run up that requires, you have a big run up, basically 60-ish%. Pull back. What's this pullback? Here you pull back 33%. So that is like the O'Neill classic cup, and you get shake out, shake the people out because we want to go higher, and then boom, here it is. So 1127. What was some news that day? Amazon. Let's look at some news here. Shopify. Meanwhile, shares of AFRM were launched 15-month high as shoppers were expected to take advantage of the company's buy now, pay later feature for Cyber Monday, right? So that's kind of a continuation of the news. Online sales hit a record. I remember this day. I remember it, and I didn't take it. But hopefully next time I would take a move like that, because what do you got here? You got a breakout of this cup and handle on volume, massive volume, dollar volume here, $1.3 billion, and then the next day it's even higher, 1.5 billion, right? You got an uptrend. This is green. This is the ADX is moving up. It's a clear uptrend. You need to see that, right? And then the blue is good. Orange is a red hot trend essentially, and then you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day move, continuation, a couple more days, and then here here's a potential sell signal. Your first red volume, but let's look at that. How much of a move did we have there, right? From that breakout, you got a 58-ish% move in 11 bars. All right, so that's, you could get in here, put a stop, and trail it. Depending on size. I mean, you got to think about you have to know what your size is going to be and how you're going to trail and all that stuff, and it has to be all determined in the same way every time. Right, but then we come in here, chop around, and now we're gapping up again. Yesterday on was almost $3 billion. So sometimes when you're already made a move like this, like you'd want to see this type of volume at the start of a move. So here you have 86 million shares, 1.5 billion dollar volume. Here you've got 58. So we went from 85 to 58 million, but the dollar volume is a lot higher because, of course, the price has gone from 15-ish to 50. I mean, that's a massive move. So, sometimes that can signal the end of a move. Now, if we look at the weekly, this is why I like to look at multiple time frames, because this is like the perfect setup here. You got a 1, essentially it just goes straight up. You don't ever have a new weekly low this entire run. So you could have used the weekly chart and just said, okay, when we get a new one bar low on the weekly, I'm out. And you could have, even if you bought up here, you'd be sitting right now on about 123% gain. So those are the type of moves. And if you look at the weekly, you had big volume. Let's go back. Let's see. Yep. And you got a buy signal with a green bar buy signal. And then just a straight up move. And where are we coming up on? Here, let's see if we've cleared any type of anchor VWAP from maybe the all-time highs or the IPO day. Yeah, so we did get above that. And then here from the all-time high, we broke through that. So, yeah, I mean, I think your classic buy point is to take out of this high here. And then if you play like wedge pops, you get in here essentially, and then you probably hold. I mean, my strategy, really, what I'm trying to focus on is, you get out of tight wedge pop, consolidation breakout, and then you just look for a sell signal. And here you could get at, don't necessarily have to sell all of it. But it's just clear sailing here. If we're playing on a daily chart, on a weekly chart, there are no sell signals as of yet. So let's go back and look at, I wanted to go back and look at this day here. This was August 25th. So let me see if I can find what the news was on that day. Revenue beat, market expectations, shares surge. 69% with the wider than a 65-cent loss earlier. 445 billion versus 364. So they had a pretty big revenue beat, and that's what got this whole thing going. So I hope you enjoyed this review of AFRM. If you liked this video, please like, comment, give me your feedback, and subscribe.